Hey, all you Warhammer players, and welcome to the Yup! We are here finally after a couple weeks off. I have been deathly ill since our team's tournament, but got some cool stuff going on, some crazy stuff going on. But before we get moving, Joey, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well, man. I'm doing pretty well. Good to be back. Happy to be back. Happy you're, still alive and we get to keep doing this thing.
You're telling me, man. It's just not being able to like functionally play Warhammer except for like the occasional event right now has just been so hard. Because I mean, I just like to play pickup games, casual games, you name it. But I went from literally event sick to event. But before we get into those details, what have you been working on yourself, man? Did you do anything fun Warhammer wise or paint anything cool lately?
It's crazy. I'm going to say it. I have actually put paint on models.
Whoa!
It's been pretty wild.
Dude, what'd you paint?
Yeah. So I have started working on my Kroot. So I've started working on my Kroot or some of my Krootox and one of the Lone Spear little axolotl character dudes. So
sweet. How's the progress coming on them so far?
They're a blast. I don't remember if I showed them to you or not.
Yeah, you sent me a base coat, like the base coat with that orange.
Yeah. So I've worked on it a little bit since then, just trying to get some more of those colors like blocked in and everything. Cool. But yeah, that's like the skin on all the Krootox and all that stuff is going to be orange, and then for the and I mean I'm just going to go with like a pretty natural like color scheme, so it's orange, and then the scales on the like salamander thing are just like a slightly more brown than would be human, like flesh tone kind of. It sounds weird, it looks good on the orange. And then just like brown leather, and we'll do some metallics and things where appropriate, but like I'm not doing anything crazy. I want them to stay fairly natural as they are, and then the Kroot themselves I'm gonna do as like a dark like gray blue.
Oh, cool! That sounds really fun. Are you posting any of them on your Instagram?
I don't. So I have this really bad habit, I guess, but it's just in my brain because it doesn't go further than that. Where I fully understand and support the statement, trust the process, and I say it all the time. But I hate my paint jobs during their process. And so I like almost never post work in progress stuff. I like to just post when it's done. And I know like the good Instagrammer should just be posting pictures as I take them, but I'm really bad about not doing that.
You should do that thing that like the top artists do, what they take like the step by step and then just post that at the end. You don't have to necessarily post the progress as you go,
right?
But at least then it gives you your own like reinforces that not reinforces, but builds up that mental state. You're just talking about how you don't like how they look, but then you could look at the whole thing, right?
Yeah, and that's fair. I probably should, even if I don't. Honestly, I think even if I don't post it, that just taking progress pictures and looking at a project after it's done is probably just a good idea.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. So outside of painting some Kroot up, have you gotten any games in?
I have not. I had to think about it. I have not. I was supposed to play a game last week. It just didn't work out and got rescheduled, so I haven't played. We're starting a escalation league here, cool. Which isn't obviously right now. I mean, we're starting at 500 points, so it's not like it's anything too serious, but I do need to get those games in. I've played a couple games of MCP because we've had that league going as well, so I needed to get those games knocked out. But that's kind of it. I haven't had too much time. I had my wife and daughter were out of town for like almost a week, and I've just been between work and this like current half semester of classes was just a little bit busier than I was expecting it to be, and I just haven't gotten around to actually sitting down and or standing, I guess, and trying to play a game. So
I suppose that makes sense.
I need to though, because I have like 5 Tau lists that I need to try.
Yeah.
Because Storm. It turns out the Storm of Silence is in like 5 weeks. So
yeah, dude. A little quick coming up here. We're gonna see how it goes. I got so much going on, man. I'm in the process of moving out of my house in with my partner, and I'm taking like half days off all week this week, just so that I spent my entire day in my garage just like taking everything apart. And then last week I was going to do a bunch of stuff like in the evenings, but I got sick. And I'm not just talking sick. I'm talking like throat was swollen shut sick. Cause I wouldn't have no problem like with a cold to do this. It was something entirely different. Had to postpone all kinds of stuff. However, I'm just excited to be back to it. And then it's just going to be very busy. That said, cool stuff happening. Number one, we started doing this Rogue Trader live stream that we started doing with the Best in Tabletop Network. Cool. I'm playing the quote unquote Rogue Trader of the group. We just had our first episode. It's full of fun shenanigans and a way too powerful psychic attack at the end, which was hysterical.
All of them, the entire like 40K tabletop RPG game system, because there's like 6 of them. Mm-hmm. But they all work on the same rule set. Dude, they're wild.
Yeah, they're crazy.
They're so
super
much
different.
Fun.
Yeah.
Super different. It's super fun. And there have been other IPs that have run off of that sort of like the D100 and then degrees of success system, which I love because I think it makes perfect sense. But yeah, it's that. And it makes sense that you're looking at it of like these things are wildly overpowered and you just like die and you're like, well, you're a human. So, maybe don't look at that Space Marine for too long.
Now, we are doing our best to not make it super lethal because it's like a 2-month adventure that we're working on here.
Yeah.
However, we'll see how it goes. We are trying to make it entertaining. It's Colin, myself, and then Bailey and Nick from the PNW Warlords, all in this adventure. Plus another guy named Kyle. I am I'm a cowboy, so I'm a dual wielding cowboy. We have a Southern Baptist preacher as the priest. It's very funny our dynamic so far. A Bulgrin or Ogren running around, who knows several words. And then, of course, an Eldari, an edgelord Eldari, and it's fantastic.
Okay. So that's Nick Fromm, I assume, right?
Yeah, Nick Fromm.
And then Colin
from Best in Tabletop. I don't actually know Colin's last name.
No, I don't think I know him. Okay.
So he does a ton of content. He was like the premier content guy in the Pacific Northwest for a long time, just because not a lot of people were really into it. He took about a year off. He was actually at the Teams event as well, playing with the Charity Hammer team.
Okay.
And he's a really really put together in terms of like his organization and such. As far as like the camera work goes, we're doing this thing where he's got a camera on the table, and he's moving miniatures around as we're playing, rather than just all faces all the time,
Right.
So it's been interesting so far. I can't wait to keep going.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. So
yeah, you guys can come check us out Monday nights, 7 p.m. West Coast time.
Are you're doing it live?
Yeah, we do it live, and you could watch the recordings on YouTube.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't played Rogue Trader. I've done I don't remember the name of it, the Imperial Guard one, and then I've done Death Watch.
Very cool.
But I have not played the actual Rogue Trader.
Well, you can try it out. If you want to get the book, they're only on eBay. and they cost an absurd dollar amount of money. They're sure crazy. It's like $100 for one of these books.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. They're pretty expensive, but
it's
they're
been out of print for so long.
Remade, so.
Yeah. Anyway, what do you say about we get into talking about our core segment today, which is really focusing on the NATL Gamers Haven event that happened about 2.5-3 weeks ago?
Sure.
Excellent. So, tell us, Joey, about the just like a general brush over reminder of the format and how it works.
Yeah, so you've got a team of 8 players, and then a supporting staff if you choose to, of whatever, but you can label as many people as you want as non-playing members. But generally, you've got 8 players and your team captain, and then the team captains sit down together. So pairings get made by BCP does its normal BCP thing, and so all the pairings get made, but it's made team against team, and then the captains will sit down and they will do their little pairing duel off magic game. And then once that's done, everybody will actually go to their table and they will start playing their one-on-one games, and then those games will get recorded, submitted as you would generally submit them in BCP, but then the captains have to go in after all of the players have submitted scores and submit the score for the team as a whole. I did misspeak, I believe, the last time when leading up to the event when we talked about it, because the differential in points, it doesn't change every 10, it changes every 5.
Yeah.
But, whatever. 6-1, half a dozen another. It's the same. The math works out. But
is it to every 5 after the first 10? Is that the way it works?
No, it's because the breakpoint is 6.
Oh, okay.
So it's at 5, it doesn't change. And then at 50 to 55, it's still a tie. And then 50 to 56 is when it's a 9-11 or 11-9.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. All right. And now all the teams that were there overall. So first we had, of course, the Big Friendly Hammers, friendlies in quotations. And that is the local Spokane team. That was the team I was on. We had Drew. We had a bunch of other random players that all are very actively engaged in our local community, as well as Nick Fromm and Bailey Strom, who came over from the PNW Warlords. And Nick, of course, is on the USA Worlds team. So we had a bit of an edge from a pure player standpoint, at least for our team. What about you? What team did you bring with you?
So I was part of the colloquial local Coeur d'Alene team here of Unga Bunga Legion. I'm pretty sure, I don't know the real history of the name, but knowing the people who are part of it, I assume that the name comes because they mostly just play Warhammer that way. It's
just run at them, send them running.
Yeah, it's just the I'm here, and then you're done or you're not, and that's okay. But that was it. They had their players, and Dale, the owner of the shop here, and the actual captain of their team per their yearly BCP thing, asked if I would be willing to help as being a player, and then also step in as the de facto captain for the event, because none of them had the experience for it. And, I said, yes, I'm willing to help anybody, especially people who are eager to learn and want to improve. So I said yes, and we did that. And it was just a bunch of local guys here, me, and then Dale, a bunch of just random guys that they're not random here. They're local guys that are involved in the community here. And then we had Paul, which some people may or may not know him. He's at basically every FLG event because he works for them. So
perfect.
Yeah.
And then we had we had a bunch of teams from the West Side in Canada. Heroic Knights 1 and 2 are a bunch of West Coast players. They have blue and white jerseys. Then we had the Deep Strike Gang, who are also from the West Side, and they had Jaden Nawasa with them, who's a buddy of mine. And he is one of the guys who typically wins best overall at like the Tacoma event, along with some Worlds players as well. They were very prepared coming into the event. We also had Charity Hammer, which was West Side plus Canadians. And if you guys don't know what Charity Hammer is, in general, it speaks to the event that Colin from the Best in Tabletop Network hosts once a year, which is a 72-hour constant live stream of Warhammer with some of the best players in the world, including John from Art of War, who come out to play. And they've over the last several years collected over $250,000 in charity for children's hospitals, which is really cool. And they also had what's his name from the Art of War, the GSC player.
Yes,
I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, Alex McDougall.
Yeah.
And then we also had the Big Sky Battle Shockers, which was also another West Side plus Canadians team, but mostly Canadians.
Mostly Canadians.
Yep. And that's actually JT's team from Play on Tabletop.
Yeah, which was super cool. Obviously so I guess before I cut in there, we also, the last team that was there was the Battle Ready Brawlers.
Yes.
Which is, I think they were all Canadian, correct?
I think so. Okay. I could be wrong, sure. But who knows?
Either way, yeah. So we looked when we talked about this event after all of the, just the week before the event, after the lists and everything got released and we were looking at all that stuff, we were talking about it. I was like, man, I don't know. I don't recognize any of these names. I don't know any of these people. I don't really know. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that crazy. Like Charity Hammer, yeah. I was woefully unprepared for the amount of competitive talent that was showing up to that event.
Oh, and I'm sorry, a quick correction. The Battle Ready Brawlers were the full Canadian team and JT's team.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So, yeah, no, you're good. And I don't mean, unprepared, not in a bad way, just unprepared of I don't know. I don't know how to explain it because I don't want it to sound bad because it's not bad. And I'm never upset for a event to end up being more competitive than I expected it to be.
The tide was rather high for this event. It was a true Shark
Exactly.
Tank.
Yeah, and I was fully not expecting that. And that's fine for me. I do wish that I would have paid a little bit closer attention. I could have potentially prepared my players a little bit better for that. But that's okay. And then looking at it, it was like there were tons of people there that I knew. I just didn't recognize their names. And of course I know who JT is. I just didn't know his last name.
Right.
And so as he walked in and I was like, oh shit, it's JT. And it was super cool. We got to play against him. He was playing Eldar as well. He was playing Aspect Host. I was playing Ynnari. He was their captain, so him and I were doing pairings. We were joking around the whole time. I fed him the mirror match. I was trying to give it to him. He did not accept. So him and I did not get to play, which was unfortunate.
Oh, bummer.
I was trying, but I understand not doing that from that standpoint. But I did give him the option. So let the record show that he willingly turned down the opportunity to play me.
Oh, so he ducked you.
Yeah, is he scared? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? No, but it was awesome. Their whole team was great. A bunch of super nice guys. Everybody had a good time. I got him he signed one of my objective markers. It was cool. It was a cool time.
Excellent. But speaking of, let's get into round one. Let's talk about who you paired into and how it went.
Mm-hmm.
So
so
who was your round one opponent, Joey?
Our round one was Deep Strike Gang.
Uh-oh.
Which was, I'm going to pull up the event here, But Deep Strike Gang was the team that ultimately ended up winning the event.
Yes.
And we were fully unprepared for that. It was a good time. I played Peter. Sorry. That was BCP not loading fast enough. I played Cohen and his World Leaders. Which,
cool.
So I won that game 12-8.
Yep.
I literally won that game in turn 5.
Yep.
We were tied the entire time. So that game was pretty wild. It was a very, I think, like, it's people have tried it before. People have run this style of list before, but it is, I would still classify it as like an unconventional World Leaders list. But I've seen it like referred to online. It's referred to as like red Stodes.
Yeah, so 20 Terminators deep.
Yeah, 20 Terminators and Angron. And like, it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
It is. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I'm very familiar with playing against World Leaders. I know how to play that game. And I'm not like I know how to win that game. I guess like a little self-toot. I don't generally lose to World Leaders with armies that I am proficient with. And that game was close. Yeah, I was concerned for quite a bit of it. And I haven't played 20 Terminators, and my list of excessive amounts of damage 2 does not kill 3 wound Terminators with -1 damage.
Oh, sir.
So that block of 10 was significantly more difficult to deal with than I expected it to be. So he puts 1 on the table and he gives it scout with the Lord of Magadas. And then the second unit is in Deep Strike. And so when you're looking at Terminators with scout and +2 move and advance and charge, like, they're not slow anymore.
No.
They're pretty wild. So like his Terminators were in the middle of the board in combat with me on turn 1.
Oh, crazy.
And yeah. And I killed the last, so we were in combat he went first. We were in combat from the very beginning of the game. And I killed the last Terminator of that unit on his turn 4.
Wild.
And I killed the last Terminator of the other unit at the last activation of turn 5. It was like absolutely insane.
That's so surprising with the amount of damage that your army can pump out.
I know. And I mean, he was a fantastic player, and he knew what to hit and where to pay attention to and what not to pay attention to. And it was great. I mean, we had a fantastic game. His army was beautiful. It's purple and it's 100% converted. All of them are werewolves.
Yeah, his army was really cool.
It's super cool. Yeah, I mean, that game was fantastic. I did, there was a pretty fair amount of luck, I think, that went into it. On turn 4, he drew Area Denial. And I had, the only thing that I had in the middle was my Archon and 3 Incubi.
Oh, they're toast.
And he had Angron. I was like, yeah, dude. Area Denial. Easy. I scored it for him. As he was moving, I'm, on my app scoring everything. And I was like, well, he scores Area Denial and he scores this other one and whatever. And he charges, he starts fighting with Angron, and he's like, well, obviously I'm going to sweep, right? Because it's 18 attacks. I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. That's the best way to get around the Archon's 2-up bullshit. And so he rolls, he basically hits and wounds with everything, as Angron does when he's wounding on 2s. And I passed 3 or 4 invols with the Incubi, and then they die. And so now we're going on to the Archon. So it's let me make sure I'm doing this math right. I don't remember the exact math of how many it was. Anyway, the Archon proceeded to pass all of the 2-ups.
No!
And lived. And so he didn't score area denial.
Oh, that's rude.
And then on turn 5, did it again.
Because he thought he would guarantee get the area denial, right?
Well, no. He threw it away.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, I'm saying the Archon did it again. I passed 26 2-ups.
Oh, that's not nice. Why would you do that?
I don't know.
But good for you, though.
And I was like, just sitting there rolling, and I was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. Oh my God, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like that, it happens. That's the game.
2-ups be 2-ups.
So it was pretty wild.
Yeah.
But it was a great game. Still super, super close. Ended up 12-8. So
excellent.
Yeah. How about you?
My first game was, so we played it actually into the into JT's team, so the Battle Ready Brawlers round 1.
Yeah.
And I played into quote unquote Lucas, who could not make it. So instead, their stand-in was Sam. She was very nice. She was playing his army, and she played it actually really well. It was the Bridgehead Strike army, and yep. I had yet to play into it, and they were expecting a 7-13 out of me. They were just like, try not to get crushed. Came out of that game with an 11-9, thankfully. I left one little spot open in the top section of the map, and that allowed her to drop the big 26-man unit or 16-man unit, plus multiple of the deep striking guys. And just she cleared out a Ballistus and 2 Vindicators on round 2. Which I was like, oh no, I'm gonna get crushed this game now. Dice were super hot, but I was able to rally back and just play like a super careful game. I was able to completely annihilate just about everything she had on the table by the end, and just came out with a 9-11 in Sam's favor. So big kudos to her for playing a great game. And rest of the team did pretty well. Like, we handed them one of their only 2 losses of the tournament. Nice. And the rest of my team just absolutely smashed it. Big shout out to Dina, who came in, and I think Dina got a 20-0 in round 1. So good for them. And everybody just played exceedingly well. Bailey, I believe, dumpstered JT. And our game into them served as a big wake-up call, because they came roaring back in the next couple of rounds. So really, really, really fun round. Was super fun. Like, I was the first sacrifice every pretty much every pairing except for one.
Sure.
And I loved playing that role. I thought it was really fun to just be like, okay, my objective is to tie almost always, right?
Right. I'm just gonna play as well as I can, I guess.
Yeah. I'm like, my whole goal is I'm gonna play. What I told myself before every game was I'm gonna play 5 turns of Warhammer. And I'm just going to keep it tight, and then if I can push, if I see a very obvious opening, just take it. And I didn't quite have one that game. I pushed a little aggressively turn 1. I had the top of turn, I believe, and pushed a little too aggressively into turn 2, and she was able to take advantage of it. But overall, still not a bad loss.
Yeah.
And then that goes ahead and gives us a win. It gives your team a loss.
It did.
It gave the Deep Strike Gang took their first win. Heroic Knights took their first win. Charity Hammer very unexpectedly lost. No one saw that coming. And then the Battle Shockers won their first round as well. And then Heroic Knights 2 also lost their first round. So that is the state of the event after turn 1. rounding into turn 2. This is the second game of the day. We only played 2 games a day, which was very nice. Joey, tell us about your first game or second game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I already talked about my first game, but we'll talk about the second one. So, our round 2 was into JT and the Brawlers. So we got them immediately after you guys opened their eyes, and so they came at us with quite a vengeance. But that was still regardless. I mean, it was fantastic. It was they were a bunch of great guys, so it is not bad for that to be it. I played into their CSM. So Creations of Bile, 20 possessed fun times. I'm very aware of how that matchup goes and how that army works. And I probably, in a couple of places, I probably played a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah.
But it was he went first and just kind of peeked out and didn't really do anything, which makes sense. That's what and it was on the ritual. So that's what you should be doing. And I kind of did basically the same thing, just stepped out, scored my points and moved on. And he looks at me and we were having a great time. His name's Scott. We were having a good time, and he had just played against your guy. He played against Nick.
Yeah, Nick. And so a quick note on that. All tournament, people kept beating Nick, who was playing Eldari Bile, thinking that they've got this because of Nick's experience in Pyra a couple weeks before that, where he was the one who got smoked by Bile a couple times, and that reverberated through the community as the way to beat Eldari.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was expecting it.
Right. And that's fine. And that army works in a very coin toss manner of they're going to pick their go turn and they're going to push. And if they do it correctly, if everything works out how it needs to, they're going to win the game.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, then they'll lose. And that's just the nature of the army. And we were kind of joking around and we were doing our thing, and it's turn 2 and he looks at me and he's like, I don't know if this should be my go turn or not, but I'm going to try it, I guess. And we're going to see what happens. And he proceeded to kill over 1,000 points.
Holy moly.
Effectively ending the game at that point. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh my God.
Bile's gross.
It was a thing, and that's real good.
Mm-hmm.
So, he pushed and everything worked out the way that it needed to, and that was that. And he won that game very, very handedly. The highlight of it for me was the Vizark for the first time being able to use anti-epic hero 2-up.
Oh no, yeah, I hate that so much.
Hilarious.
It is so good.
So
that was cool. That sounds like a tough one, buddy.
Yeah, and it's it happens. It's not something to get upset about. It's 20 possessed and 10 chosen. It fucks pretty hard, and
yeah,
if the turn he decides to push, it touches everything it needs to, then you win, and that's the nature of it.
Definitely.
If he had a couple 7-8 inch charges, and if he fails those, the roles reverse. That's just the way that it goes.
Yeah, any army that can effectively turn 2 go turn is just so general. So
yeah.
How'd the rest of your team do overall into
So overall we still everybody proceeded to lose except for Paul. Paul played into your opponent, Sam, I believe you said her name was?
Sam, yeah.
Sam. I was shocked. So Paul was playing Chaos Knights. Mm-hmm. And just, man. Chain cannons are real good at killing guard.
Yeah, that's the matchup that list might be able to clap fairly hard into, but like,
well, and that's why we did it, because I was like, hey man, this detachment's really good and they've got a lot of shit and it's probably gonna hurt, but even with like, they're basically re-rolling everything, but they're also wounding your entire army on 5s and 6s.
Yeah.
So if we can just have the math go one way, we'll be okay.
Well,
and that's pretty much how it went.
Until they're shooting the plasma guns with +1 to wound on drop.
Yeah. Paul won that game 18-2.
Ooh.
I was shocked. Super proud of him. Like, he killed it. But I was pretty shocked. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much, that was the highlight of that round. So
yeah,
we had our Tyranids player played into Death Guard and lost 11-9, so that was super close. So
awesome. At least you had a couple close ones there and one good win. In our round 2, let's see here. So we were in second place going into round 2, and so we played into Deep Strike, gang. I had the opportunity to play your first round opponent, which I got to play into Cohen. And the World Eaters list, so he was super wary of my list, and I was very wary of his list. Right. We played on layout 1. I played on layout 1 literally every game, but it was hidden supplies. And I believe that the only reason I had the advantage is because once we rolled, the objective that for the end of the game was on my side of the map. So that was very lucky on my part. Overall, here's how every one of his dice went for like his blood tithe or whatever.
Yeah.
He got advance and charge every turn.
Okay.
Which is a huge pain in the ass to deal with. It meant that I could never push up at any given point without immediately getting into the danger zone.
Yes.
Now I played a little too cautiously at the on one side of the map where 3 8-bound were that scored him points all game. And beyond that, it was a very cagey game, and I was very, very specific with my movement all game in order to keep that game close. It came out to a 10-10 draw for he and I, which I was like, cool, this is fine. But I could have won that game 12-8 had I done one stupid thing a little bit better. So I had gotten Angron down to 4 wounds and shot him again when he was standing on a point I needed to charge onto, because I again had top of turn.
No.
So, and it was hidden supplies, and I needed it was round 4, and I needed to charge Guilliman onto him and kill him with Guilliman in order to score my 15 at the top of the round. Because if I had done that, because I technically won by 5, but it was a tie, of course, because I didn't hit 56. Right. And that would have pushed me 20 points up, giving me the 12-8, which would have been so cool. Would have been our only victory of the round. My team got curb stomped. Everybody got wrecked really badly. We might have had one win. I think Nick might have won his game.
It looks like you had 3.
Did we?
Dina won. Nick won.
Oh, that's right. Dina had a very unexpected win.
And Kirk won.
Kirk was a godsend all weekend. He did so good.
Yeah, and then Wyatt got his cheek clapped a little bit by the Custodes.
Oh yeah. Wyatt got clapped so bad because we gave him Custodes that round, and he was so mad. It was so funny. He was like, "Why would you do this to me? There's no way I could deal with this army." It was a very funny round, but like this was our hardest loss by a long shot. Collectively, we scored 57 points.
Sure.
Which for us was like in this tournament was our lowest scoring round. Every one of them were super prepared. They had run into our list a multitude of times.
Yep.
And they had planned a lot. They also had a co-captain walking around with a clipboard doing like analysis and stuff and being
they
like
did,
push and all that.
Yep.
Whereas they were the only team with that kind of infrastructure. I mean, I tried to help. I brought snacks that were healthy, but other than that, it was just like pairings and go. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But in that round, so Deep Strike Gang wins 2 in a row. We take a loss. Heroic Knights grab a win. So Heroic Knights and Deep Strike Gang are both 2-0. Charity Hammer comes in with a resounding victory in their next game. The Battle Ready Brawlers, of course, come in and beat you guys. And with another resounding victory, the Battle Shockers drop their next one. The Heroic Knights 2 drop their next one. And then, of course, you guys. And that will go ahead and wrap up round 2. What did you guys go out and eat or anything, or do any kind of gathering post Saturday night?
We did, actually. We went to the Cajun restaurant across the street that is connected to the Haven.
Oh, nice. So, like Carvo, I think.
Yep, sure.
It's
I don't know if it's Vo.
It's something.
I know it's not Vo. I don't know how to pronounce it. I know how to pronounce some things. I know French is weird. It's Verre, but it's not Ver. So I don't know how you pronounce it. But anyway, that was the thing that, like, I guess a bunch of the guys like it, and they've been there before, and so like we had a reservation. I don't remember, like a whole week earlier, and we did that. So that was nice. Just kind of hung out and had some dinner and drove home.
Cool.
What about you guys? Did you guys get to do anything?
So yeah, well, it was really funny. Wyatt was like, "Hey guys, let's go to Buffalo Wild Wings. It's safe for everybody to go and eat something like that, right?" We're like, "Yeah, I guess." And we all kind of reluctantly made our way over. And then, so here's the thing: nerds don't pay attention to sports.
No,
It's March and basketball is on. So Buffalo Wild Wings was crazy packed. They're like, "There's no way that we're gonna have any idea how long this is gonna take." We're like, "Good." Yeah. So we just dipped over to China Dragon.
My God.
Which is across the street from the mall there in Spokane, Northtown Mall, and had some really good Chinese food, honestly. Like, it's one of the only places in the area that is decent, I guess is the best way to put it, having come from the Bay Area. As far as, like, you know, basic Chinese food goes, basic American Chinese.
Sure.
So we hung out, had a nice meal. Everybody had stuff they had to do. Poor Bailey had to grade a bunch of papers that night. It was like, what are you doing, man?
Oh my
God. But we were ready to go, popping into the event the next morning at bright and shiny 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. Going into round 3, what did you pair into, buddy?
So we paired into Heroic Knights 2.
Excellent.
Which was one of our, I think it might be actually our highest scoring round. Let's see.
It looks like it, yeah.
No, it's one off. Our final round technically was the highest scoring. So our second highest scoring round, but it's also who we voted for favorite opponent.
Nice.
Everybody had a great time, and it was just nice that, like, I felt pretty bad after day one that, like, I felt like I hadn't prepared the guys well enough and, like, didn't do a good enough job as the captain that they had asked me to be to, like, prepare them for what this event would actually be like. And because I didn't expect it, like we said before, I didn't expect it to be that as competitive as it was.
Yeah.
And they just weren't prepared for it, and we got our asses handed to us on day one, and everybody was pretty beat, just like emotionally and mentally and everything. Like, it was not good. So I felt pretty bad about it, but we came back the next day, and luckily, everybody had kind of found their way to the same page. And I had only talked to Aaron. He rode with me on Sunday morning, so him and I had a nice long talk on the way there, just about, how Saturday went and how these things go and how you want them to go, and just competitive 40K really. But even though he was the only person that I had that conversation with, everybody kind of found their way to the same page of like, hey, we weren't prepared for this, but that's okay. And we're gonna just play some more Warhammer, and we're gonna have fun and whatever. Like, that's fine. And so spirits were a lot higher, which is great. Good. So like it was very, very good. Like, we still lost, but it was emotionally, it was just so much of a healthier day for everybody. I played into, I decided to jump on what may not seem like a grenade, but from their team comp and our team comp and our players, it was. So I jumped on the grenade of Death Guard, which was 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, 3 Predators, Mortarion, Plague Marines.
That sounds awful for elves.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. It is exactly, if not more, awful than you think it is.
Oh, all right.
He went first.
Please go on.
So he went first. It's bad. So, indirect is really good, and it's not broken. I don't have a problem with indirect. It is perfectly fine. But it hasn't existed in like high enough numbers in the meta recently that most of us elf players have gotten comfortable without it and have not taken as many transports because the floor has been slightly less lava than it was. Well, turns out that Plague Burst Crawlers are still really good, and they got cheaper, and they're real good. And the floor is in fact lava still.
Yep.
And it hurts. It hurts a lot. I still lost, but I did squeak out a 12-8. There was opportunity in my turn 4 for me to win the game. He had 2 Plague Burst Crawlers on, he had one we were playing Dawn of War, and he had 1 Plague Burst Crawler on each flank, and he had 1 in the middle. And he did, in my opinion, exactly what you should do, because he had 2 with entropy cannons and 1 with flamers, and he put the flamer in the middle, and you just do your thing.
Yeah, just stand and wait, right?
Just stand and wait. So I had to play very carefully around that, because that Overwatch will, in fact, just murder me.
Literally kill anything in your army? Yep.
Literally anything. So I had an opportunity. Both of the flank Plague Burst Crawlers were on 1. And the middle Plague Burst Crawler was sitting on the middle objective, but completely healthy. And, I had it looking at it, looking at the score, and him and I talked about it during the game and afterwards, that if I kill all 3 of these Plague Burst Crawlers, I think I can win the game. Because at that point, 2 of the Predators were already dead, so there was only 1 more. And then his Marines were dead. So he had 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, 1 Predator, 2 Marines left, and then 1 bloat drone that was in my deployment zone that I was never going to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And that was it. And so I was like, there's a world where I kill all 3 of these and I win. So I go in, I shoot the one on my left. We kill it. Great. We're hanging out. Things are going well. One down. I shoot at the one on the right, who is also at 1. Now, the only thing I have on that flank is an empty venom. So it's not likely. Right. But I shoot. I do 2 wounds. The Dream's alive. He passes both saves. Okay, cool. That's fine. We go to the middle. I don't have anything to shoot at it, so that's fine. But I have the Incarn. And so the Incarn charges the one in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the choice because I charged it and the Predator, and I had Bring It Down on this round. So this is like, that was like the like extra spice to the cake of like, I could win if I kill things.
Right.
So we were talking about it because the Incarn's in combat with the Plagueburst Crawler that's healthy and the Predator, and he heroiced with his second Bloat Drone. And so I'm like, okay, well, all of these vehicles are worth the same amount of points, but one of them is significantly easier to kill in the Predator because he won't get a save and it'll just die. But the Plagueburst Crawler is significantly more threatening to me, but it has an invul.
Mm-hmm.
So that could just not work. Before we move on, I do that charge. He does his heroic. Now I have to figure out that new puzzle in the middle.
Yep.
I charge on the right with the Venom into the one wounded Plagueburst Crawler. I spend my CP for Tank Shock. Venoms are only toughness 6.
Mm-hmm.
I roll
6 dice.
0 5-ups.
Oh no!
And then with my 4 attacks, obviously did not wound it.
Oh.
So that one lived on 1. Okay. Who was next to Mortarion, so he ignored modifiers and thus was basically healthy. So that was really cool. I ultimately, after a pretty significant amount of time thinking, decided to fight with the Incarn into the Plagueburst Crawler because it is the biggest threat.
Yep.
And hit with everything, wounded with everything, so all 5, and he failed all 5 invuls.
Oh, nice.
And I rolled like 28 damage.
I do believe that kills stuff.
It does. The Incarn was on 3 wounds.
Ooh.
It blew up. He did 2 wounds to the Incarn, so the Incarn's on 1.
Okay.
But then the Incarn killed the thing, so I get to heal, and I healed 2.
Nice.
And then the Predator did nothing, and the Bloat Drone did nothing. It was like, that whole situation.
Lucky you.
It literally, the Incarn, because that was turn 4, so turn 4, turn 5, 3 different times, the Incarn went from 4 wounds to 1 wound, back to 4, and like it was 4, 1, back to 4, back to 1, back to 4. Okay, now I'm dead. Mm-hmm. And then when it died, it blew up. It's like absolutely wild. But like, it was in the realm of possibility that had I have killed all 3 of them, then I could have won that game. Not just from the Bring It Down points, but also like that the one on the right was sitting on his home objective, and so the Venom charges it, kills it, piles onto the point, takes his home objective. We do, more things that way, and like it still would have been very, very close. I think the 12-8 just gets flipped.
Yeah.
But like it was a very good game. It was very close. There was some wild shit that happened the whole time.
Yep.
And it was really just one of those like, hey, this is possible. Let's see what happens. And it didn't happen. And that's just it. So,
well, at least it was a nice tight one, man.
It was, yeah. But overall, we had a good round. Our World Leaders player put up a couple points against their Tyranids. Paul, again, absolutely shocking. So I put Paul into Kalyan Tau.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him before we started, I was like, hey, look, like this is how it's going to go, man. You need to touch him. And if he gets to shoot you before you touch him, he's going to win.
Yep.
And that's the deal. Like, so try and kill him before that happens. I was in the middle of my game, and I was the last one actually to finish that round. And so I didn't get to really watch all of it, but from talking to him about it, on they essentially talked it out after turn 3.
Oh, wow.
Because Paul went first, and after turn 2, the Tau player didn't have any spotting units left.
Oh,
like he
there's
had
no reason to play Tau anymore.
Right. And so that's the problem, right? And like there are some lists that can operate without them.
Right.
The general, Triptide, Railgun, Kalyan style Tau is not one of those. It needs to be guided.
Right.
And he didn't have any left.
Awesome.
And there was only like 2 of the knights that were dead.
Yeah, and he comes in with a huge win. Big old 20-0 there.
Yeah, so he got a big 20-0 there. And then Brandon, our Death Guard player, played into Renegade Raiders and won that one 13-7. That was really awesome.
Yeah.
So it was good. It was just overall, like I said before, overall, just emotionally, it was just so much of a better round. Everybody had a good time.
Good.
People did well and, better than they hoped or expected to, and we moved on.
Yeah, excellent. Let's see here. Our round 3, we get into the Battle Shockers.
Yep.
And my match is into the Jeremy mirror. He was playing Genestealer Cult.
Yeah.
They threw me up first, and then they gave us the option of this final day list, which had no teeth, and something else. And Nick was just chomping at the bit to hand them to me. He just said before the game, he said, "You can run this game over. If he exposes his last cannons, feel free to sack a Vindicator for it. You will just crush the rest of the game." And it worked out exactly that way. Mm-hmm. He went first as well. He did not, and I expected him to jail me. He kept 2 of his gargoyles off the map.
Oh,
which is what I think gave me such a big advantage. And the reason he did is because I brought Desolation Marines, and nobody was prepared for Desolation Marines. So him handing me, I literally just got to kill one of his big GSC units or Tyranid units once a turn with Desolation Marines. Like they just killed 5 units, just bit by bit by bit. And I deployed on the line, and he was so stressed out. He's like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna run at you, man. Like I'm gonna crush this game." And I did. I won with a 17-3. Gilliman did get beat down by that Muscle Beach dude. That guy who was a las cannon on a stick.
Yeah, literally on a stick.
Yeah. So he absolutely eradicated Gilliman once. He did get back up, luckily. I made 2 small mistakes, and had I not made those small mistakes, it would have been a 19-1. So I could have closed the gap even further. I really wanted to try to get a 20-0 this tournament. I did not, but I was very happy with a 17-3. The rest of the round went really positively in our way for the most part. Dina gave up a 20-0, sadly, but it was Dina's first actual loss of the tournament, so nobody cared. It was like everybody gets one, it's fine. Nick again was fed CSM and just kind of beat it again.
Yep.
Bailey just ate Grey Knights with a 20-0.
Yeah. Yep.
Wyatt went into a Space Marine list that was similar to mine, but no Desolation Marines. And he fed with a 15-5. Brandon, our most flexible player, came in with Grey Knights and got a 12-8 win. Thank goodness for that. Kirk drew. Good for Kirk. And then Drew almost drew. So with an 11-9 loss. And so we got a pretty good, we beat them pretty solidly across the board. Putting us into an interesting position going into round 4, where we were at that point 4th or 5th in terms of placing. But if we win and win by a lot in the 4th round, that would propel us to the next. So as far as where we are at the end of 3, Deep Strike Gang again wins theirs. We won ours. The Heroic Knights lost to, I believe, Deep Strike Gang because they were both 2-0.
Right.
Charity Hammer, again, another loss, and I believe that was to the Battle Ready Brawlers, who again storm in with their improvements. Battle Shockers lose to us. The Heroic Knights 2 pick up a big game against you guys.
Yep.
And then, of course, you drop to the Heroic Knights 2.
Yeah.
And so then that's going to take us into round 4.
Yeah, so then we go into round 4. So we just got done playing Heroic Knights 2. And we go into round 4 and we play Heroic Knights 1. It was just a weird, like, where the placings we got paired up really hard. And
yeah, you did.
It's just because nobody, like, all of the other, like, pair downs had already played each other. So it's just unfortunately the way that it happened. So that was fun. This was our highest score, so we did pick up 1 extra point from the last one.
Ooh.
Yeah, very exciting. But it was overall, like, it went fine. Like, there were a couple of things that went a little bit different negatively, and then a couple of things that went different very positively. I played against World Eaters again, playing a more classic World Eaters list. Angron, 10 Berserkers with a Mo, and 6 8-bound, and 6 Exalted 8-bound, and then 3 Exalted 8-bound, and 3 8-bound, and the normal,
like, the list, yeah.
Yeah. You're like, oh, okay, this is a World Eaters list that I'm used to. That one ended up, I won that one 16-4.
Ooh, big win.
Quite a much more significant win on that one. And that was just, like, that was me, I think, really, like, finally honing in on, like, what I need to be saving command points for in Ynnari specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that's good. Like, it's a thing. It's a thing we got to learn.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of things went my way, obviously, and not much didn't. There were a couple of things that happened that I was like, that's not what I wanted. It ended up being fine. Ultimately, the big thing, it was hidden supplies, so we've got our objectives leaving. Ultimately, I think the thing that, like, really sealed it, and I was already winning, but the thing that, like, really, really sealed it was, I think it was turn 3. And that feels like a weird time for it to be sealed, but sometimes that just happens.
Yeah.
He finally brought his Berserkers out with, 10 Berserkers with the Master of Executions, finally brought them out of the Rhino, put them on the objective that was going to be around at the end of the game. I was like, okay, cool. It's not a thing I can, like, comfortably touch.
Right.
At this point, I did still have Yvraine, Vizark, Incubi, who Angron fought on turn 1, but didn't kill.
Okay.
And then ultimately, between them fighting and then me shooting and fighting him again, he died.
Okay.
And so they were free, and Incubi were still alive, so they got to heal on my turn 1, and then on my turn 2, and then on my turn 3. So at this point, they were 8 strong.
Yeah.
With the 2 characters.
Okay.
And I, like, round the corner. I don't remember what layout we were, but I, like, round the corner coming off the middle objective, just staring at these Berserkers. And he's got the Berserkers on the point, and then he's got 3 8-bound that are, like, tucked behind the wall, ready to, like, heroically intervene. And then another unit of 8-bound that is ready to be in my deployment zone.
Uh-oh. That sounds scary.
Right, okay. Well, this is going to work or it's not, right? So I move him out. I use my little fate token, whatever, to move faster. So
plus 2 inches.
Yeah. So I peek everybody out, and the Yvraine screams at the 8-bound and kills 2 of them.
As she does.
As she does with anti-infantry 2-up dev wounds. Like, that just happens sometimes. So she kills 2 of them.
Yep.
Out of the 3. I'm like, okay, cool. Not a problem there anymore.
Not bad.
So we move on. I do the rest of my shooting. I do whatever. It's a lot, but I do a lot. And charge in. Mm-hmm. So I charge Incubi, charge the Berserkers, and the 1 8-bound. Because I was like, at this point, I'll be able to kill it. But also, I don't want him to get any weird movement. So I'm just going to touch it right now.
Makes sense.
So I charge in. And he's like, okay, cool. Well, I fight first. I'm like, I'm aware. So I'm going to use 2 CP to have fight on death.
Hell yeah.
And he fought and killed... he killed all of the Incubi and then he put Yvraine on 1.
Oh,
and
wow.
And the Vizark was not killed. So, because it all happens in 1 activation. So I killed the Incubi and then I start taking saves on Yvraine because at that point, technically the bodyguard unit's still alive. And the Vizark is alive.
Some pretty good 5-ups overall.
Well, so I had some good 5-ups, but then she has a 4-up, and as long as the Vizark's alive, she has a 4-up, Feel No Pain.
Yeah.
And so she tanked so much shit. Ended up at 1, and I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. Well, all of my Incubi are going to fight now. Because it's
a million attacks.
2, it's a 2 CP fight on death, so it's auto.
A 3-up, right? Oh, it's auto.
No, it's auto. So the Incubi fight, the Incubi kill 7 out of the 10, 8 out of the 10 of the Berserkers. And then
that was with Homeboy, right? Master of the MOE,
yep,
or with
that was with that was with Master of Executions.
Okay.
And like that was just my fight on death. So then now it's my actual fight, and I go. The Vizark goes into the 8-bound and picks him up.
Easy.
And Yvraine goes into the remaining 2 Berserkers and Mo and picks all of them up.
Of course she does, yeah.
And I mean, pretty shocked. I know, she's fantastic, but like that's still a lot.
Yeah.
But
and at that point, like
having 4 wound character, having 4 wound Space Marine characters that don't have invols, like she can kill them.
Yeah, for sure.
And that was pretty much like I said, I was already winning, but that was like I was winning technically, but he also still had that piece in his army, and that is a incredibly difficult piece to deal with for my melee army.
Yeah.
And it was just like I knew like the whole time I was waiting the entire game. I was like, I have to touch this when I can fight on death.
Yeah.
Because if I can't, it's never going to be worth it.
No bueno, yeah.
And it just like I just made the right choice, and it worked the way that it should have, and that happened. Now, like, some things obviously were probably different than they should have been, because he did what he should have. He fought with the Mo. He did all of the precision. He fished for dev wounds. He put it all into Yvraine. She just rolled 4-up Feel No Pains, and like that's the nature of 4-up Feel No Pains.
That's Warhammer, baby.
So ended up winning that one 16-4, so that was pretty good. And his army was also fully converted, which was
I didn't see his.
Pretty wild. His was Wood Elves.
Cool.
So it's like it's pretty. It was really cool, but it was all the like Sylvaneth stuff, and he had everything on the right bases, and it's all of the like. He was very clear about like he was like, okay, so there's these guys. These are the 8-bound. Nobody knows the difference between 8-bound and Exalted 8-bound anyway. I was like, that's true.
Impossible to tell. So there's that.
Exactly. And he was like, so if you look at these models, these ones have hair and these ones are bald. The bald ones are exalted. And I was like, oh, perfect. That's great.
That's awesome.
His rhino was a chariot, but
cool.
He had it cut out on a base that was the exact silhouette of a rhino.
Oh, good.
And he was like, if there is a line of sight question, I have a Rhino and I can put it on the table if we're worried about it.
Nice.
Which was perfect. And then his Angron was the old like Warhammer Fantasy Dark Elves Black Dragon with the witch on it.
Oh, interesting.
Which was so cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. It was fun. It was a good game. We had Paul played into orcs and got his first like serious ass beating.
Yeah, he got stuffed.
He did lose round 1, but it was 15-5, so like he still scored points.
Yeah.
He played into orcs. He played into tactical. And
Tactical's still really good.
The only thing that I heard about from that game, because he was playing next to me, but the only thing that I heard about was his Rampager declared a charge and his opponent overwatched with Meganobs and killed it.
Oh my god. It must have been on a wound.
No, it was healthy.
So wild.
Okay. He had whatever the combi weapon, so he's got it's dev wounds and everything, and he rolled really, really hot.
Dang, well.
I was like, all right, man. Shit.
Sucks for the Rampager.
Yeah, sorry, dude. Yeah, we had our Tyranid player played into Blood Angels and won 12-8. Our Death Guard played into Tyranids and lost 15-5. It was the triple Mouseceptor, triple Exocrine, triple whatever Turbogon. No, Tyrannifex.
Ooh, the big guy, yeah.
Yeah, the big one. And it was literally like we talked about it. I was like, hey, if you can kill the monsters, you can win.
Yep.
And he didn't kill them fast enough, and that happens.
Those big bugs are tough to deal with.
He got boxed in. He got jailed on turn 1, and he ended up like to the point that when he chose to finally deep strike his Death Shroud, he had to deep strike in his deployment zone.
Ugh.
So like, it was pretty rough.
Yeah, that's tough.
But still scored 5 points. So
nice.
Good on him. And then our World Eaters player played into the Nurgle Demons demon list.
Oh,
which was super cool.
Yeah.
And it was really one
Luckily,
of those, like,
he smashed through it, huh?
He did, yeah. And it was one of those I put him there, and I was like, hey, man.
You can just win this.
You can, but it was like, I was like, you have the tools to win this game, but also that shit's crazy resilient, and you might just not kill it.
Also that.
So good luck. We'll see what happens. Yeah. And from talking to him, his opponent played, like, super aggressive, and he put, like, Great Unclean Ones, like, right in the middle of the board, and was just like hey, here's my big demon dick. What are you going to do about it?
That's how you lose against World Eaters.
Right. Well, and that's exactly what happened. Aaron was like, oh, that's fine. I can do that too. And just went after it. And nice. He ended up winning 18-2. I mean, they played to time.
Nice.
So, like, it was crazy, but he pulled it out 18-2. They were Purge.
Yep.
And Aaron went second, which is just the wettest dream that a World Eaters player can have.
Oh yeah, that's just okay. I just win game.
Yeah, and GG. Like talking to their player about it, he was like, I just couldn't. He's like, I was lucky to kill a unit a turn, and he was killing 3 and 4. Like, I was never gonna kill more. I was like, yeah, that's fair. Dude.
There was no way.
Like, no, you're not gonna kill more. That's exactly what's gonna happen.
You have to play so cagey and hope you get lucky on your invulns. That's the only way to win that.
Yeah, and that is not what he did.
Nope.
So, and that was great. I was super, super happy that Aaron got to experience that and, like, got that game before the tournament was over. So,
yeah, that's excellent.
So we still lost, but that was our highest loss. So that was cool.
Awesome. Going into our round 4, let's see here. I got to play into a guy named Quinn who was playing Eldari. Now, a little bit of backstory on this. I have been preparing to go into Eldari a multitude of times this tournament, hoping to draw them. And this Eldari list, when we read it, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. It's probably not very good. And boy, was I wrong. Yep. Quinn is a very polished player, number one. Yes. Number two, I hate to do it, to say the words, but his dice were literally on fire. Sure. He cross-mapped a Ballistus Dreadnought with a Wraith Lord on turn one. With
Hell yeah.
one round of shooting, like literally one Wraith Lord. I was like, okay.
We've talked about it.
Yeah, it's a good unit. Don't get me wrong, but I played into them like this past weekend, and I literally ate 3 of them in a single turn. Like it didn't even. They were terrible. So like,
yeah,
that one was just so crazy. But I tilted this game. I was like, oh no, oh my god, like the dice were just so bad. That even Quinn was like, he pulled me back. So big props to Quinn. Quinn was a really cool dude. Mm-hmm. He beats me 15-5. So it wasn't a 20-0. So I do feel that I kept my end up of the bargain to this team,
right?
To the team overall by, being first on the first defender, and taking on who I believe was one of their better players all tournament, for the Heroic Knights too. And the rest of my team, however, just absolutely went to Pound Town.
Yeah.
Bailey came in and again took on Grey Knights and won with a 14-6.
Yep.
Dina, another big win, 15-5 into Tau. Wyatt absolutely diddled the Leagues of Votann with a 17-3. Brandon ties, which is great. Kirk 19-1 CSM, and that was fantastic. Nick comes in and into T-Sense. Nick and I were playing side by side, and like we were just having the opposite experience because both like his opponent was Nick who was playing elves, and my opponent was Quinn who was playing elves, and it was just a clap on either end. And then Drew came in with an 18-2 big win.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was great. Now, a couple things in my game, like the really unfortunate stuff that happened in my game that were just super rough. So I moved my Desolation Marines because I needed to shoot their direct fire guns into something. And I get Overwatch by Fire Dragons. Now, an Overwatch from Fire Dragons is generally very good into a vehicle. So I felt comfortable moving infantry. And he's like, well, I need to move him. Like, I'm going to have to do it here. He got 3 6s on his dice and flipped the 4th.
Yep.
And so that just killed all of them. And I was like, oh, the game is now officially over after that. That was like turn 3. Mm-hmm. And that was just the story of the game with us. Like, he rolled really hot. I did not. And he played very well. Like his movement shenanigans were perfect. I managed to step on all of the rakes. Mm-hmm. And objectively, I'm just happy that like I was able to just fall on the grenade there because the rest of the team crushed. And I'm very happy to see that we came out with a 3rd win after that, which takes us to after 4 rounds of 2 days of teams tournament, Deep Strike Gang comes in 4-0. The Friendly Hammers, that's us, comes in 3-1. The Heroic Knights comes in 3-1. We come in 2nd place because the Heroic Knights had less points than we did. Charity Hammer comes in 2-2. The Battle Ready Brawlers comes in 5th, 2-2. The Battle Shockers come in 1-3. The Heroic Knights 2 come in 1-3. And the Unga Bunga Legion coming in 0-4 to cap off the event.
Yes, sir.
Of course, Deep Strike Gang wins, getting some golden tickets along the way.
No,
I believe it was a golden ticket event, wasn't it?
No, so it was. It was a World's team, or it was an American Team Championship ticket.
Oh, okay, sure. So they got a American Teams Champ ticket, and then we came in. The Friendly Hammers came in with a hobby award. So we have not only the benefit of having Drew on our team, But because we're local, we were able to bring display boards. Drew being one of the best painted Votann armies in the world, by the way. And we had several display boards, and we got a pretty unanimous vote for favorite army.
Yeah.
And the Brawlers, I believe, came in with the best sport award, or everyone's most favorite opponent.
They did. Yeah, they did. And it was so funny, the favorite army, because so they had the captains were the only ones that were submitting votes for it.
Yeah.
And the way that it was like laid out, the way that I understood it, is that we were voting for favorite army, not favorite team of armies.
Oh.
And so like when they announced you guys as a team, I was surprised. I mean, I specifically voted for Drew.
Right.
Because it was like, that is very clearly the best painted army here. Like, by a long shot. Question. that is who I was voting for. That is who I was expecting to be winning a trophy.
Yeah.
And they said your guys' name, and I was like, okay.
I mean, the rest of the armies looked pretty good, to be fair.
Again, yes. And I'm not taking anything away from your guys' team. You guys all have beautiful armies. That was just, I was like, maybe it was just me. Maybe I misunderstood how that voting was going, but I thought it was for him.
Gotcha.
Because I heard you guys talking about, because I told him, because I heard like him and Dina were talking about it. They were like, oh, well, like who's going to take the trophy home? Like, who do we give it to? And I looked at Drew and I was like, well, I voted for you specifically, so I think you should have it.
Rude. Yeah. Anyway, we let Dina take the trophy home because Dina's paint is also phenomenal, and Dina came in with the surprise performance of the tournament. We did not expect them to be as effective as they were. Only one big loss, otherwise 3 wins, and we were very happy with their performance. So
absolutely, yeah.
Overall,
like
it was a
not
great
taking
tournament.
Anything away from you guys. All of your armies are beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. So if we were to let's take the next 8 minutes here to kind of go over the biggest ups, the biggest downs, and then overall like teams' future plans and stuff. So what would you say, rattle off 1 or 2 ups here about the team experience with the Unga Bunga Legion, and then I'll do the same for the Friendly Hammers.
I will. Oh man. I guess ups. So I'll say most, right? Because it's me and 7 other guys, and I have not worked. I've played Paul. I've played with and around Paul. Paul is a phenomenal player. I think he's one of the best players in the area. But so obviously, with that caveat, I have not worked with him directly to try and improve or whatever, because I just don't think I need to, and I don't think that he needs that. So, but other than that, it's him and me, and then I'm pretty sure I haven't played against Brandon, but I have watched Brandon play, and I have given him advice and worked with him through things, and during the event and after the event we talked about lists, and we kind of figured some stuff out and made some changes that are beneficial, and all the good stuff. But other than that, I've worked with everybody else on the team, almost everybody else, at the individual level of them wanting to be better players, and being able to again, I do wish that I would have done a better job preparing them for what this event was going to be, but being able to take part in that event with them and watch legitimately, in some cases, shocking improvement over the course of just 4 games,
right,
was
awesome. It was amazing. And I told him, I was like, yeah, we were 0-4. We were never expecting to win the event. We were hoping to win a round. That didn't happen. That's fine. I'm unbelievably proud of their performance as individuals, and like their ability to bounce back from how rough day one was on them emotionally, and to come back in day two and manage to be like happy and excited and ready to play more. It was great. It was good. Very, very good to see, and I really appreciate them for that, and I'm proud of them regardless of what happened as a team and as a placement. I'm happy and proud of them individually for what they were able to do. So I'll say that was definitely a very, very big up. Obviously the down is that we were 0-4, right? We wanted at least a round. That didn't happen, but
yeah,
sometimes what we want doesn't happen, and that's okay.
Definitely. As far as the Hammers go, as far as my interpretation of everything, we were very cautiously optimistic going into this, because we do feel that we have, as far as locals are concerned, one of the pretty much the best people that we could have gathered on this team. Mm-hmm. And not to mention with the Bailey and Nick buff that we got coming in, things were we can do this. We really felt that we could. Now there was some insecurities late going into the event, sure, because team communication wasn't super great throughout the preparation process, and that's something that we can kind of shake out as we go. But we placed behind the leader, and mm-hmm, we knew that they were our steepest competition, and we got to play against them, and so we have no excuses. So I'm going to say that's an up, because it's literally only okay, we could, this is something that's real and that we can work on.
Yeah. I mean, you guys, not only did you come in second on the actual placings, you mm-hmm, lost one round, and it was to the people that won. So looking at it, because I was looking at it going into round 4, because there was 4 rounds with only 8 teams. It was entirely possible that there was no one undefeated.
Yeah.
And I was looking, I didn't realize, I guess I hadn't put it together that you guys had already played, because I was thinking man, if Deep Strike Gang loses super hard and you guys win super hard, then you could win. But
yeah,
I'm pretty sure, I don't know if I don't know how far Bob set his the tiebreakers down, because I know BCP has 15 different options that you can throw on there.
It must have been score.
I don't know how far he set it down. Well, obviously there's score is a part of it, and you can rearrange the ordering as a TO, but some TOs, and I know it happens a lot in card games, where even if you guys had won super big and they had lost, they would have still won the event, because you may have more points than them, but your loss was to them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So they pretty much had it wrapped up, and that's okay. So it really gave us as a group a lot of hope for the next time we go to another event, if we can, mm-hmm, which there are plenty for the NATL. And as far as future plans go for the Hammers in general, we are hoping to go to at least 1, if not 2 more events throughout the year. It might be really tough based on travel, based on circumstances, and and fleshing out those numbers. What about you, buddy?
Yeah, man, I don't know. I love the team format. I love competitive 40K. I am around, I am kind of as free of an agent as I can be in this sort of environment, as the NATL team format doesn't take you away from your like registered club on BCP.
Right.
And pretty much everybody in my team lives in Texas, so it's not like I'm participating in a team event with them anytime soon. So I'm around. I had a blast with the guys. It was super fun watching them grow. They're, the ones that asked me to help them, and that's where I ended up playing. I'm happy to go to team events. I think the team format's fantastic, but I don't have any solid plans. You guys did, you guys being the Hammers, did ask, very kindly invited me into your circle and asked me if I was willing to be a player for you guys if you need it. And I am. I very much do appreciate the invite. I think you guys are a fantastic group of players, so being given that opportunity is very, I don't know, humbling. It's nice. I like it. Yeah. And yeah, like I don't have any plans. There's nothing there's no team events that I'm looking at on the horizon, but if one comes up, I am excited. I enjoy it. So it's a fun format.
Excellent. Yeah, that's the biggest, most exciting thing is that we really hope that, if and when the opportunity arises, when we really need someone to come in, that you could be a part of that group. I know I certainly appreciate your talents. Coming up, though, as we draw on this hour and a half marker, coming up, we have a big GT coming up in about 5 weeks here, right?
Yeah, we do.
Which is super exciting. Let's just hope DACA gets kicked into the dirt by then. Maybe the demon thing, too, because that's a little rough to deal with.
What are you talking about?
That new detachment is very, very Legion? Scary. Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking sick, dude.
It's so good.
I'm going to send you a list that I built. I don't have the models for it, but I'm going to send you the list just so you can freak out about it.
I'll be happy to look it over, and then I'll send
crazy.
I'll send you the list from that GT I went to as well. Some of them did pretty well this weekend.
Yeah, and I don't know. DACA's one of those things, man. Obviously, yes, it's incredibly strong, but look at Adepticon.
All right. Let me just stop this nonsense real quick right here. People are saying, "Oh, look at the tournament results. Look at the tournament results." Bullshit. People are not playing it because they know it's going to get nerfed. So I am so sick of these people sitting here talking about, "Oh, it's not that good." No, it needs to be nerfed. Period. End of story.
47, I believe, 47 orc players at Adepticon, and 44 of them were DACA.
That's a problem, and so it's a skill issue.
Sure. all of the DACA won round one. With more than a 40-point deficit. I don't know. It is incredibly strong. And it's super, if you really go on StatCheck and look at it and break it down, it has a 63% win rate, which is significantly higher than we want anything to be.
A little too good, yep.
But it's very weak in the XO. It's incredibly good at going 4-1.
Yeah, and if an army is too good in the mid tables, that is the biggest, most clearest thing that needs to happen where it needs to get knocked out.
I'm not saying it doesn't need to get nerfed. It almost certainly does. I just want GW to be careful with how they do it because it's orcs, so it'll be very easy to hit it too hard.
Yeah, they need to nerf the army rule and the stratagem costs, not the points. If they hit the points, they're doing it super wrong.
I agree.
But if
it's the rule and the one stratagem.
Anything with sustain 2 is too good. Period. End of story. Either knock it down to sustain 1 or flip the rule with assault and the wog turn.
The issue is that flipping the rule then makes it not make sense.
Why?
Well, because if you just always have assault, but you're only advancing on one turn, it just doesn't make sense.
It'll work.
I think what they could... So, obviously, I think it should be sustained 1. I think we've talked about that before. Just change the army rule from sustain 1 or from sustain 2 down to sustain 1. And if they really wanted to avoid people bitching about it, you could go The whole army gets sustained 1. If it already has sustained 1, then it's sustained 2. Because there's like 2 things in the codex that already have sustained. So that's not a huge deal, right?
Maybe.
Because that's the problem is people will go, oh, well, they nerfed it to sustained 1. Flash kits already have sustained 1. Fine.
Oh, no, you don't get a perfect unit. Oh, no.
Sure, your flash kits can have sustained 2, I guess. But everything else is sustained 1, and then putting something into the wall is 2 CP.
Right.
And that's it.
They could do more.
They could do more, but I think just that would be enough to make it feel more fair.
Sure. As long as they do something, because as of right now, the only reason people aren't playing it to death is because they know the nerf is coming.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some... I haven't heard like too much, but there are some rumors floating around that there's going to be a like semi-emergency data slate that comes out to change them, but we'll see.
Needs to be something. Like that was rude. Like Tactical was already so good, and then they just dropped that out of nowhere. Like
it was pretty funny.
Awkward.
They dropped it literally at the exact same time that they nerfed Tactical.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, complain about Tactical? Fine, we'll nerf it, but here's something better.
Yeah, you know, we'll talk about it next time, but like,
yeah, we'll talk about.
We'll rant about some of the stuff that's been happening because there's a lot of things they could do to make the game really fun and cool that without just releasing new crap all the time.
Sure, I agree.
No,
there is some stuff, and I do, you know, especially if we do it a week from now, we're coming up on that Emperor's Children release, so
we are.
We might want to talk about
troublesome reality we all have to deal with.
Not troublesome, which is a thing we can talk about, especially if we have differing opinions.
Yeah, that's right, because I think that army is too good.
That is very interesting to me, and I am excited to have, I guess, a debate episode.
Excellent. That'll be super fun. All right, guys. Well, thank you all so much for being here. We have been chatting and rambling on entirely too long. I thank you all so much for sticking it through with us until the end if you are still here. And next time, we'll see you with the yaw.
See you.